President Trump is making a major shift in his Russia policy. He announced a plan with NATO yesterday to send U.S. weapons to Ukraine paid for by Europe.
The president is also putting the pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin. He's told him to negotiate a ceasefire in 50 days or be prepared to pay the price. Wendy Griffith reports.
President Trump says he's disappointed in Vladimir Putin and is tired of playing games. Monday, Trump announced he's selling U.S. weapons to NATO to help defend Ukraine against Russia's attacks. The move signaling a major shift in his Ukraine policy, one in which Europe will step up and pay.
This is a very big deal we've made. This is billions of dollars worth of military equipment is going to be purchased from the United States, going to NATO, etc. And that's going to be quickly distributed to the battlefield.
The president says this goes beyond just sending Patriot missile defense systems. It involves missiles, ammunition, a full battery of weapons. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte helped broker the agreement between the U.S. and European nations. And he says many countries are coming forward, ready to pay big to arm Ukraine.
This is again Europeans stepping up. So I've been in contact with many countries. I can tell you that at this moment, Germany massively, but also Finland and Denmark and Sweden and Norway, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Canada. They all want to be part of this, and this is only the first wave.
Ukraine will receive much of the weaponry it needs almost immediately. Trump says he hopes this new deal will help push Moscow towards peace, voicing frustration with the tactics of Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I speak to him a lot about getting this thing done. And I always hang up and say, well, that was a nice phone call. And then missiles are launched into Kiev or some other city. And I said, strange. And after that happens 3 or 4 times, you say, the talk doesn't mean anything.
Brad Bowman, senior director of the Center on Military and Political Power at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, told CBN News Faith Nation Trump is discovering the truth about Putin.
Trump is realizing that Vladimir Putin is all talk, and he's going to continue with his war until we shift his cost-benefit analysis. And you do that with tariffs, secondary sanctions, and weapons to the people of Ukraine so they can defend their homes against this unprovoked invasion.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky thanked the U.S. for the support. It's been the deadliest month for civilians in Ukraine to date, with Russian missile strikes in major cities increasing from a year ago. Trump also announced he'll be imposing secondary tariffs at 100% on countries that do business with Russia if a deal to end the war isn't reached within 50 days. Wendy Griffith, CBN News.
Thank you, Wendy. CBN White House correspondent Kelly Wright joins us now from our bureau in Washington. Kelly, thanks for being with us. President Trump apparently is fed up with Putin and seems to have given up on these good faith conversations. What more can you tell us about that?
I can tell you that you're right. He's just more than fed up. He's exasperated and put out with Vladimir Putin because the president doesn't like to be played, as many people here in America, especially in the MAGA movement, understand that you can't fool him more than once or twice because then he feels that the egg is on his face. This time he has studied Vladimir Putin very well, and yesterday was a turning point. A turning point publicly. He made that very clear in the Oval Office with the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, at his side. And the president citing that Vladimir Putin had gone so far as to actually build up his ire against him. Now, he still likes Vladimir Putin, would like to see Vladimir Putin do the right thing, but he's put this tariff in place with 50 days. And there's some people who are saying the president should have started it immediately. So they're basically stating that the president, we're behind you. We want to support you in this. And some are saying that he should have done it immediately, but he's still holding out hope that Vladimir Putin will come to the table and negotiate a peace deal, a ceasefire. And he's just tired of seeing the carnage that's unfolding there in Ukraine and Russia, stating that it's unlike any other time frame of people losing their lives. It's even different than what's going on in Israel and Gaza. And he says there are just too many young people being killed. And so now he wants to put a stop to this. And this is one of the ways he's doing that.
Kelly, what about some core supporters of the president who don't support the U.S. getting more involved in this war? How are they responding to this latest move of his?
Well, look, that's an excellent question. And some people within the MAGA movement are against the president because they believe that he is actually renouncing his campaign promise not to put America in any foreign wars. Among them are one of his staunchest supporters on Capitol Hill, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has stated that she supports the president, but not on this. She believes that taxpayer dollars will go towards this. She believes that some way the United States is bordering on being involved in this war between Ukraine and Russia. So she's pushing back on this and criticizing the president for this, along with other critics who say that this is going too far. And so they're doubling down on their stance against the president on this. But the president has made up his mind. He wants to try to broker a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. He believes that Vladimir Putin is the impediment to this. And of course, as Brad Bowman talked about on Faith Nation yesterday, Vladimir Putin is known as a killer. The president went so far as to say that he could be described as an assassin, referring to Vladimir Putin, but then said that he's a tough guy. And now the president realizes that he has to deal tough with a tough guy.
All right, we'll switch gears a little bit here. Yesterday, the president spoke at a lunch hosted by the White House Faith Office. Who attended the event? What was the purpose of the event?
It was quite an event. Faith leaders and business leaders from the country were invited by White House faith advisor Paula White-Cain and Jenny Korn, who is the director of the White House Faith Office. This was a luncheon for the president to come in and meet faith leaders as well as business leaders who believe in God and place their faith in God. And they wanted to hear from the president. He came there, and actually we were expecting brief speech from him, but he went on, Andrew, for about 50 minutes, and we were all standing, those of us who were in the room representing the media, and we were really surprised at how long he talked. At some points, he was talking about things that he discussed on the campaign trail, things that he has discussed since becoming president, but then he got very focused on discussing faith. Amid all the colorful language he sometimes uses, he got very focused on faith, saying that America needs God, America needs religion, and he talked about the war on faith. Here's a little bit of what he had to describe.
As president, I've ended the radical left war on faith, and we're once again protecting religious freedom like never before in our country. We're protecting it like never before. We're getting rid of the Johnson Amendment that didn't let the pastors and ministers and everybody speak about politics. Now you're able to speak about politics, Paula.
And Andrew, beyond that, the president took time out to talk about the fact that when he was considering his second run for office, he was watching the spirit in America and stated that he believed that it was lacking spirit. And he was alluding to the fact that it was lacking a spirit of faith, and he wanted to revive that. And so when he came into office, he wanted to revive faith in America, or religion in America, and be open and accessible to not just Christians, but Jews, Protestants, Catholics. And he talked about the fact that he met with imams as well as rabbis, asking for their endorsement, which is one of the reasons why he actually sought to disrupt the Johnson Amendment, because some of those imams, as well as pastors throughout America, as well as other clerics and rabbis, were concerned about how do we support you in the pulpit when we'll lose our tax-exempt status. And so the president did something about that with the Johnson Amendment. Here's something else as well. He talked about the fact that he wanted to bring not only religion back to America, but he wanted to protect it and safeguard it. And he described how he created the Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty, as well as the White House Faith Office, which is placed in the White House, and then also the task force on anti-Christian bias, because he was tired of seeing pastors who were pro-life and other members of faith being criticized and actually persecuted, as he says, or prosecuted by members of the Biden administration.
All right, Kelly, thanks for joining us. Always appreciate your insights on the administration and all things D.C. Thanks so much.